I don't know how they do it.
All
We're
right,
live.
we're gonna stop complaining about Aweber. If you're using Aweber, I suggest you go look at Active Campaign or something. But anyways, that's welcome to Hump Day Hangouts number 266. We got the pre-holiday special Hump Day Hangouts going here. I almost put on like my reindeer ears, but I withheld. I'll be back next week, and I think the guys are gonna have some maybe some outfits or hats. Well, we'll see. Hernan's giving me a vigorous yes. Yeah, I think he's gonna dress up as Santa Claus. Man, that is awesome. Hernan, thank you for doing that.
Yeah, man, it's like 1,000 degrees right now. So
yeah. That's right. You're in the upside down, aren't you?
I am.
All right. Well, hey, everybody, before we get into it, we're going to say hi to everyone real quick. And then we got a few quick announcements, some really good stuff going on, especially with the holidays. Then we will get into it. We got a lot of questions today. So Bradley, how you doing today, man? How's Virginia treating you?
Good. I was just, I was almost late because I was talking to a prospect that was looking for SEO services that found me through my SEO Virginia horrible drive stack G site that I built back in 2015. So I just was making a comment, just kind of giggling with Marco about it because that was from way back in 2015, and it's still ranked #1, and I still get leads from it. So pretty interesting.
That's awesome. Good day, man. Yeah, well, you know, it doesn't work, but I guess you're going to have to take the leads anyways.
I don't think
Google's going to shut it down any minute now.
Hernan, how you doing, man? Down there in the other hemisphere.
Good, man. All's good. Everything's good. Getting ready to spend some time with the family. Diving into some new ways of marketing and communication with potential prospects. So that's going to be good. We're going to be talking a little bit more about that in the upcoming episodes. So all good, man. Excited to be here.
Outstanding. Chris, how about you? Are you home in Austria?
Yeah, I'm home in Austria, and I guess I prepared a little bit too early because last year it was always Hernan, and this year I put up a Christmas tree as well just for the Hangouts. But yeah, like we'll see what's happening next week then.
Outstanding. Marco, how about yourself? How you doing, man?
I am doing really good, man. 2 charity webinars already in the can. Got the next one scheduled for next Monday, and giving away just a lot of great information for people who donate. So that's the only thing. The only thing that you have to do is go and donate. But this year, like we have a whole bunch of awesome prizes that we're going to give to people who have donated. For example, a couple hours of my time, 2 people, right? Each one will get an hour. Syndicate. There'll be drive stacks. There's going to be syndication networks. There's going to be Dedia donated 5 embed gigs and 5 link building gigs. So you know that's 5 people who will win the embed plus link building gig, right? Which is just awesome. You aim that at anything that's set up right, and that juice is just gonna flow and push it up. So I'm excited. The charity is doing well. We're collecting money. People have been awesome donating, but we always need more. We always need more.
So I know that you know, a lot of people know about this, but can you tell everyone, because we get new viewers all the time, what the charity is or who it benefits?
So the idea is to take children who are at risk, and by at risk, it's either they come with us, or it's drugs, it's abuse, it's violence, it's prostitution. Child prostitution is rampant. That's how it is in the third world. You got a lot of pervs who come over and take advantage of that poverty. So what we want to do is we take these kids and we give them an option. You come with us, we'll give you everything you need to go to school: shoes, uniforms, books. We tutor them on Saturday. We take them through mentorship programs because we also want to create community leaders so that other children have someone else to look up to. There's another hero, right? It's not just the drug dealer with the fancy car, because right now he's the hero. We want to show them another aspect of reality, of life, that there are other heroes that they can emulate rather than following the drug dealer to a slow death. I talk about Fernando, one of our our biggest success story. he started out with 8 or 9 of his friends, right? Running around, sometimes coming to a charity and sometimes it's not. He's the one who stuck it out. The other ones who didn't are dead. And so that's the choice that these children are making. They come and they get an education, tutoring, tech school, and then we place them with big companies because we train them for the right jobs, for the jobs that are in demand in Costa Rica. So it's either that or you die. Yeah. So that's the fucking option, guys. It's incredible. You have no idea. Poverty in the third world, and Hernan knows. Fort Apache, what is it? Once Catorce is another place. Dude, no. So that's my passion, right? It's not my magnificent obsession. My magnificent obsession is doing everything I can to help people make money in Google, and so that I can make money. But my passion doesn't feed me, right? My passion is something. It feeds my soul, but I need to make money in order to go and really work at my passion or give, which is what I do. And so thank you guys. I know Hernan, I'd like to thank him personally because he's awesome. He donates every year. So thanks a ton, and you guys who always make this possible. Thank you.
Yeah, well, and how much does it take to because you do, it's like a year long, right? So how long does it take to take care of or rather, how much does it cost to take care of a kid, get him in the classes, get him in all this for a year?
$200 per child, and that includes everything. It includes the tutoring, it includes the mentorship, it includes we do these weekend getaways. We make ourselves available. The family sometimes needs food. Some of these people don't have anything to eat. They have a tin roof, cardboard walls, and nothing on the fucking windows, not even curtains. Okay, that's the conditions that they're living in. It's shacked. It's ramshackle. It's horrible. Right, open sewage. You name it. It's there, and it's worse than you imagine. The worst that you can possibly imagine. And it's worse than that.
Gotcha, man. Well, and I want to say too to everyone, like I know we've had some large donations in years past. I'm sure you've already gotten some this year, but it's one of those where truly every little bit helps. And Marco, I know you're not restricting, access to the webinars based. It's any donation amount, right?
Absolutely not. Your heart is going to tell you what, and of course your wallet, but your heart dictates to donate. And your wallet dictates how much. You got a big wallet, open that motherfucker, man. People need it.
Yeah.
People need it. And I'm this year I'm matching all the donations. So we'll total it up. I'm matching it dollar for dollar.
Damn, that's awesome. Well, we're going to be throwing some more on top of that. We got some awesome holiday specials coming up, you guys, and anyone who donates is going to get some special stuff there. So you could donate $1, you can donate $100, you can donate $1,000, again, whatever you can, like what your heart and your wallet tells you. So if you can, this has been a really good thing. Marco, has this been like 3 or 4 years now?
Well, we started doing our own little thing, and then it's picked up. So this is what, the 3rd or 4th year. I've been helping them for like 9 or 10 years.
Nice.
From way back, my wife and I started helping them. So it's been a while.
Good deal. Well, I mentioned some special stuff coming up with the holidays. So we're going to have more coming out about that. And then wanted to let everyone know too, next week, we've got a really special Hump Day Hangouts. We're not going to have time for questions. If you've got them up there, maybe we can try to take some into the Facebook group. We'll do what we can. But we wanted to sit down and say, hey, what could we do at the end of the year that would help everyone going into 2020? And we're going to cover a lot of areas. We're going to keep it into short segments. And we're bringing on some guests as well. We're going to have Rob Beal, of course, you're familiar with him, co-creator of RYS Reloaded, helping, I'm going to call him the chief operating officer at MGYB, the guy who gets shit done and is, gave some great advice, some insights at POFU Live. And then as well, we're going to have Jeffrey Smith, the on-page master SEO bootcamp, SEO ultimate plugin. He's going to come in and be laying down some good stuff as well. So you do not want to miss that. We're going to go a little bit longer, but we'll start at the same time next week, and we're going to cover a lot of ground. And after that, we are going to have some holiday specials going on. But after that, there won't be a Hump Day Hangout until 2020. It turns out that it does fall on Christmas Day, and I think we all would want to be spending time with our friends and family. doing that. And we realized that probably not a lot of people are going to be maybe attending. So we're going to go ahead and push it back to, I believe it's January 2nd, because then the first Wednesday in 2020 falls on New Year's Day. So that's a holiday as well. So we're just pushing it back one day. So we're going to go next week, be there. We're going to have some good stuff going on, some great guests, some good knowledge, as well as some awesome holiday specials. And then the next Hump Day Hangout will be on January 2nd, 2020. As well too, man, we've had a lot of stuff going on. Bradley, I know the mastermind is getting what? They're getting a webinar a couple days before Christmas, aren't they? You moved that up so you could squeeze one in before Christmas?
Yeah, we're going to do that on Monday, the 23rd, as opposed to Christmas Day, or the day after Christmas is when it would have been Thursday. So yeah, we're going to do that on Monday, the 23rd.
Awesome. And then you just got done, correct me if I'm wrong, but Monday with the second half of the branding training. Is that correct?
Yes, that's been all edited now and chopped up. It should be in the membership area soon by the end of this week. And then I've still got to add all the notes to individual lessons. But cool. In case anybody missed that, the YouTube training was already been split up. There was, I think, 15 videos for the first part that were created out of that almost 3-hour webinar. And I think there was 14 for the GDN the display network portion of the training. So that was almost another, that was almost 3 hours also. So gotcha. It was like out of 6 hours of content, I think we ended up with almost 30 videos, and everything's been split up now, and it's got all the notes and everything. So it's a really good course. In fact, I don't think I think we took down all the specials for that. When if we haven't, we need to.
Yeah, but there might be something in the holidays. But regardless, yeah, that is a great course. I'll put the link in there. Really, Bradley went above and beyond on this and cranking this out before the holidays. Bradley, I'll let you add on to this, but I call it kind of the massive branding course. You know, if you want to build a brand for yourself, which you should be doing, I think Hernan can chime in on that, or for your clients and charge them for this service.
Right.
This is, another one of those no-brainers. Just do it. But what you guys want to add on to that?
Yeah, I did. I actually was playing around today with some ad campaigns that I'm running for some of my own projects. And I discovered or kind of figured out a way to even build out the custom intent audiences even more thoroughly. It's a more efficient way to build out these audiences to make sure that you're really getting targeted. Your ads are only being shown to people that are really targeted. So I'm going to probably record a supplemental video or and add it to the training specifically about that. But yeah, I agree. I mean, I hit this over. I repeated this throughout the training. Everything that I talked about in the branding training should be applied to you as the consultant or the agency owner. It should be applied to your brand first. Before you set this up for any clients, you should do it for yourself, and you should just plan on constantly running branding campaigns so that you can start to fill that pipeline full of prospects. So that, that's the number one thing holding people back. We get it through all of our surveys. We over and over and over again, we hear people say their number one biggest problem is getting clients. Well, what are you doing to continually keep your pipeline full of clients or prospects? If you're not doing something, then it's your fault that you don't have a continuous steady stream of new clients coming in the door. It's because if you keep doing what you've always done, your results aren't going to get any different. So the branding training was essentially for you to learn how to do that on your own, for your own agency first, or your own business first. But then it's also something that you can offer to clients, and it's a way that you can generate revenue. And it's, I showed in the YouTube training how to actually find prospects that are currently trying to use YouTube for leads that are failing miserably. So anyways, it's a good course, and I would recommend everybody check it out. And by the way, if you're in the mastermind, you get that for free.
Yeah.
Point that out.
Something real quick before you go on, because there's a question whether you should brand, whether you should. If you've read the patents, if you've read BERT, and if you've read about neural matching, which is trying to do away with EMDs and spamming of titles, especially in local searches and map results, and you think that branding is optional, you're nuts. You're nuts. Yeah. Branding is no longer optional. Semantic web, brand plus location plus keyword association is what wins the game. I just gave you the keys to the kingdom. It doesn't seem that way because it's just Marco talking shit. I just gave you the keys to the kingdom. Apply it, use our shit, and see how you do.
Sweet.
Yeah. I'm just gonna add something real quick. I don't remember who said this, but adding to what Bradley just said is that the number one, like one is the most dangerous number for any business. Like if you're having one conversation, if you're sending one email, if you're talking to one prospect, if you're doing like, if you build like one backlink, you know, like all of that stuff is like the most dangerous thing that you could do for your business. So with branding, what we basically do is we solve that completely, right? You will never have to worry about the influx of leads again. Think about that, the POF that you gain by just being in that position where, you know, people are just coming your way, right? How much more you can charge people. And because you're not going out there, out cold and saying, hey, I want to work with you. People are coming to you or saying, hey, yeah, you're this guy, you're that person. I saw you there, I saw you here. So I think that multiplying effect also applies for your client. So it's a really good tool to have in your toolbox for yourself as a consultant, as the breadwinner, as the marketing head, or the guy behind your agency. It doesn't matter if you have like 2 or 3 clients, if you have like 30, right? You're still the guy behind all of it. And not only that, but that multiplying effect will be will trickle down to your business, to your clients, and they will see the effect as well. So that will, you know, put you in a much more powerful position, in my opinion. So it's really good. It's really good.
All right. Well, before we get into questions here, just want to wrap this up and say, hey, if you're watching us for the first time, thanks for watching. Make sure, especially to attend next week and check out the holiday special Hump Day Hangout webinar. And then in the meantime, head over to battleplan.semanticmastery.com, grab the battle plan. It's our step-by-step process for getting results with everything from new websites, agent domains, YouTube channels. Just check it out. There's a ton of value in there. We threw in some crazy bonuses. It's amazing. We love it. And a lot of, well, actually, I've got to look up the numbers, but I don't know. Over a couple thousand people have also loved it. And if you're wanting to grow your digital marketing business, then you're the type of person we'd like to have in the mastermind. You've heard us talking about it a little bit here. But if you want to join the experienced community, that's the place to be. And you can find out more about that at mastermind.semanticmastery.com. And to everyone, whether or not you're in the mastermind or you're doing things on your own, we highly advise saving time and money. Head over to mgyb.co and get done for you services. We got press releases, link building, the SEO Shield that is newly released. And actually, I think it's actually available on its own right now, not just through the Black Friday deal we had. Just tons of more stuff and a lot more coming. And of course, I just put the link on there. If you guys haven't yet, please go subscribe to us on YouTube. I know we're real close to 7,000, and I know that'd make Bradley's day. So maybe we can hit 7,000 during Hump Day Hangouts and let him know about it. So with that said, let's get into it.
Yeah, now you've got me curious. I just got to double check. 6,990. So we're 10 away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Go subscribe.
10 from 7,000. I mean, that's not like, that's just a nice round number. It's not a milestone. We got to get to 10,000 before we really have accomplished much. But these are all organic views. I mean, other than I had a subscribe campaign running with YouTube ads for some time. But anyways, all right, let me grab the screen. And I kind of pre-answered one of these questions. Here we go. Okay. Somebody confirm you got my screen. Good.
Got it. Yep.
Okay. Steven's up first. Steven, I put a reply below where I talked, both Marco and I in the last week or two, I think 2 weeks now, have been interviewed by Matt Versteeg of the for the Local SEO podcast, Local SEO Show podcast. And great conversation. It's always fun to be interviewed by somebody else in the industry, to have a conversation about, you know, SEO, where a lot of the other podcast interviews that I've been on have to kind of dumb it down or water it down a bit because we're talking to a broader audience. But it's kind of nice to talk to somebody that understands our industry so we can talk shop a little bit more. So, by the way, Marco's, I think, just got published today. And I listened to it. It was a great interview with Marco. So I had an interview with Matt about 2 weeks ago, and I spoke about, he asked a question very similar to what your question is, which, what is the semantic web? And so I gave a much more thorough answer there. So I linked to that. It's in our free group, guys. Here's if you go to our SEO and Marketing by Semantic Mastery group, it's also in the chat now on the Hump Day Hangouts page. But it's this post from Matt Verstig about the interview with me that he had. It's about 45 minutes long. But in the beginning, I talk about the semantic web. So just as a very quick definition, I'd like to get Marco's input on this too. But the semantic web is the move from the algorithm knowing just determining how relevant things were through search strings, right? So queries of or stringing certain words together or phrases to create to answer a query, which is what the algorithm had been for so long, to now things. So from strings to things, because it's not just about the internet or web pages anymore, right? It's about everything in our world now is connected to the web. And so the devices and entity, all these things have to be given an identity, something that the machines, the bots, can understand, so that they can start to understand relationships between these things, whether it's web pages or a device, a mobile device, a person, a brand. It could be any number of, your appliance, for God's sakes, your refrigerators and light switches at home are now online. So it's a way to create entities out of things and a way for it to understand the relationships between them, the associations between them. And so the semantic web was something that we kind of we saw it coming, which is why our name is Semantic Mastery. Way back in the 2011, 12 timeframe, we saw that the it was coming, right? So Google had already been applying for patents that were showing that the semantic web was coming, that they were shifting over to a semantic web. And so that's kind of why we named our company that, was because we were going to optimize or learn how to optimize for the semantic web. And it took a lot longer for it to catch on than we thought. It took several years, as we're just starting to see within the last few months. Again, Marco will talk much more about this, but some of the more advanced algorithm updates for the semantic web, such as BERT or the neural mapping or neural networking algorithm, which I think just came out about 2 weeks ago. Those are specifically semantic web type updates, just like Hummingbird was one of them, was one of the earlier versions of that. So it's something that we're seeing more and more, like we're moving faster into it now than we have been. It's been a kind of a long, slow progress to get to this point. But, I think that's why the stuff that Marco especially has developed over the last several years, because we saw it coming, we're several years ahead. And so that's what Marco was just talking about with, branding and all that. It's about the entity, right? You want to create a strong entity on the web. And there's a number of ways to do that. The SEO Shield being our preferred method, which works incredibly well. So Marco, what say you about it?
I'm always talking into a muted mic. Well, the semantic web, just the semantic web, the idea is for web pages to have structured data in them, tagged and constructed in a way that a bot can more easily interact with the page, because the bots were having so much trouble with the unstructured data, meaning these sets of words that the bot had no clue how to interpret. So again, the idea of the semantic web is just simply being able, the people who are either building the website, designing it, coding it, to be able to go in and structure the data for the bot. Yes, it involves entities and it involves a whole bunch of things that I'm speaking on in the charity webinar. If you really want to know what this is about, catch that podcast and catch my charity webinars. That's one. And I think that the question also says, or he's asking about that you mentioned, Bradley, the semantic web algorithm. There is no semantic web algorithm. The algorithms are a set of or different code sets that draw different data, and it's all put together under one in a huge relational database. All of it's code, guys. It's just simply zeros and ones, and there's sequences. And for example, Semantic Mastery has a word sequence, and it has a bunch of, a number sequence, and it has a bunch of other number sequences related to it, which are things. It's words that are related to it. But at the bot level, I don't want to get too deep for you guys because I don't want to confuse you. This is not the forum for it. But the bot has to go in, grab the words, turn them into zeros and ones, right? Bits, bytes, and number sequences to be able to interpret it. And it has to gather all of this information from all over the web, everything that's related to whatever it is that a person is looking for, if they're looking for semantic mastery, to give them the best result for the query. So we have several, not just one algorithm at play, but it all ends up in what Google is calling a ranking score, which of course they're not making public. We don't know how it accrues. Well, it accrues exponentially, of course, but we don't know exactly what accrues ranking score, but we do have a great ideas, for example, from BERT, from the PageRank algorithm, from the ranking score algorithm, and from the distance graph algorithm, right? We've talked about seed size and seed set. So there is no one semantic web algorithm. That doesn't exist. What does exist is a whole bunch of different algorithms compiling information, and it can be either really positive, which is what we work on. We work on triggering all of these positive aspects of the different algorithms that are going to get us a whole bunch of Google love, and we try to avoid all of the negative ones that can come and really hurt what you're doing. And if you're doing client work, you can get your client's website de-indexed if you're not doing everything correctly. And I hope that answers the question. If not, go to the free Facebook group and ask the question so that we can answer maybe a little bit more. Better yet, join our mastermind and ask the question. And we can, and I can really go into it with you. And again, I would invite you to listen to the podcast and to listen to the charity webinars, not only the ones that I've already done, but the ones that are coming and the ones from last year where I went through all of this, and you could hear me how it's going to be all about entities, and all of a sudden Google comes out, and I said it's all about brands and entities, keyword associations, and Google finally comes out and admits just last month that this is what it's all about.
Yeah.
So yes, as Bradley said, we're way ahead, and I'm already working on next gen, meaning I want to catch Google again in 3 or 4 years. So we're always ahead of the curve. That's why we're semantic mastery, guys. That's why our shit works the way it does. Unmovable for years and years and years and years. That's how we do we do.
Thank you for that. So Danny's up next. Danny's got several questions about link building that I'm not a spam link builder. That's why we have a Dedia. So I'm going to kind of run through these very, very quickly with very short answers. But Danny, I would recommend that if you want our master link builder to actually, provide some insight as to what type of links to use and that kind of stuff, I would post this question again in the Facebook group. And Dedia, our link building manager, he's usually really helpful. He'll come in and answer some questions for you. I'm not the spammer. I just hand it over to him and let him handle that stuff for me. But I have a basic conceptual knowledge of this, so I'll run through these very quickly. The first question was, ever tried sending GSA Blast to a GMB short URL? Well, yeah, you can. But first of all, remember your short URL is a redirect. So that's not the best URL to send links to anyways, because it's a 302 redirect. In fact, it's multiple redirects. But what you want to do is use the GMB CID URL, right? So that's the www.google.com/maps $CID, right? So that's that version of the URL is the best to send links to. Yes, send links, build links directly to that, because we include that in the SEO Shield. And that's what we throw over to Dedia all the time. It's just all of the URLs in our SEO Shield, which includes the map URL, Google Drive stack, Google Drive folders and files, all of the GMB website URL, all of those. So I don't usually just use that as one target URL because I usually send a list of target URLs that all get links thrown at them, or built to them, I should say. But yes, you can build links to that directly. Number two is any ideal number of links to build for a GMB. I don't have an answer for that. I try to do as small as a package as needed to get results, and then just repeat it every couple of months or every 3 months or whatever it is. I try to do link building in cycles. So I don't know what the actual number is. Because it's going to depend on competition. So there's too many variables there for me to give you a rule of thumb for that.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's as many as it takes. Sometimes
As many as it takes. Yeah.
It might take just one tier, right? Contextuals, Web 2.0 contextuals, and you'll see it wham. Sometimes it doesn't take any links. We've talked about that, but it's as many as it takes to get the job done. And it could take you cycling through all of your URLs, hitting different aspects of that GMB, because there are a whole lot of targets that you can hit to get results. How many? No, as Bradley said, too many variables to be able to answer that.
Yeah. For your RYS stack, would you prefer a direct GSA Blast, or do you build contextual tier 1s and 2s and then GSA Blast the tier 2s? Again, that's a question to post to Dedia, but I can tell you definitive, 100% for sure, that contextual as your first tier is the best way to go. Web 2.0 to contextuals. In fact, I know Dedia recommends that you do 2 tiers of contextuals, and if you're going to use GSA, use that as a 3rd tier. Any comment on that?
No. That's exactly what he says. And as a matter of fact, 2 tiers of Web 2.0 contextuals, the way that things are behaving right now, should be good enough. GSA has its place when you really need to power something up, but it's sometimes that's used as a last resort. I don't really like using GSA. I prefer to just continue tiering the Web 2.0 contextuals.
Yeah. Okay, so again, if you want further clarification on any of those, go check out our packages in MGYB, our link building packages. You'll see what's recommended for the different types of competition levels. And so you can and those were specifically developed for that reason, because our link building manager, Dedia, has been doing these types of link building pack campaigns for us for years. I'm talking like for me for at least, I think 6, maybe even 7 years now. So everything that he does has been developed specifically for our methods. And so you can get an idea of what works best by just taking a look at the link building packages and the different competition level packages at MGYB. Okay. And then you can always ask questions in the free Facebook group, and he'll jump in and answer them. Next question is, hey guys, regarding the Done For You Syndication Network, I noticed my OneDrive page was taken down and account blocked due to spam. Well, that's unfortunate. That's odd. That usually doesn't happen. So my guess is it was some sort of an anomaly. He says, is my syndication network fine without it, or should I try to build another OneDrive page and link to it from all of the other syndication properties? Thanks for help as always. That's up to you. I can tell you right now, I don't really sweat. If it depends on the property, but something like OneDrive, if it goes down, or if the syndication stops working because IFTTT hiccuped or something like that, I typically don't go in and repair those things, or I'll have a VA do it if I do it. But there's a limited number of properties that we syndicate to anyways. So it is somewhat important. If it got, remember, sometimes these accounts can get blocked or terminated, and it's algorithmic, and it's something that, it really wasn't triggered because of spam. It just got caught up in some sort of filter. So, my short answer is, if you only have one project or a couple of projects, then yes, I would go ahead and take the time to build another. I think you have to build a whole nother Outlook or Live account, Microsoft account, in order to, attach or set up another OneDrive account and then attach it to IFTTT. So I would recommend that you do that. If you've got a ton of projects and this is just one of many, then I wouldn't worry about it. I'd maybe do that when you've got some spare time. Okay.
Yeah, the Semantic Mastery way says you don't do anything yourself. You should have a VA that goes in and takes care of these things as they pop up.
Yeah. Yeah. And so just keep that in mind. And something else is, if you're gonna have a VA do that, then make sure that you're either providing them with, they're going to have to log into the account or create an account, which means that you're going to want to have that bound to their IP. Otherwise, if you try to switch between, like if you have a VA in the Philippines, just as an example, and you're in the US and you try to create the account and then you send it over to them and they try to log in, it could lock the account because of the, the IP, the change in IP. But I would recommend that you set up some sort of thing like a Browsio or Ghost Browser or something like that, where you can log into that account from the same, even if it's your own IP, it's fine, but you want to keep the browsing session intact for that particular profile so that it doesn't trigger any IP locks. Okay. Okay. So the next one is my competitor is hitting my brand. What service could I order or technique to defend or make my brand strong and from getting hit with negative SEO from a competitor? The SEO shield is about the only thing I could tell you to do. Marco, what do you say?
That's exactly what I was thinking. The SEO shield. There's no way that you can stop a competitor from negative SEO. It's unethical. I don't do it. I don't do it because you're messing with a person's livelihood. No matter how much of an asshole the person might be, they have kids, they have family, and that's what I think about. If I'm going to try to negative SEO them, which I never have, by the way, in nearly 16 years that I've been online, I've never done it, and I don't plan to do it. I know exactly how, and it works really well. But just use the SEO shield to turn everything negative that they're throwing at you into positives.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree. I've never done negative SEO either because I think karma's a bitch and it will come back to bite you. So that's why I've never done it. I've been tempted to in the past, but I've never done it. So I would recommend, and I'm not saying you are either. I'm just saying that, as far as the only thing you can try to do is dilute it, right? You're not gonna be able to stop it. And so how do you dilute it? The best way to dilute it that we're going to tell you how is with using the SEO shield, because then you're creating this shield around. Somebody could still hit your direct money site with bad links, but if you've got all this relevancy and you've really solidified your entity and you've created this strong presence online, that then that type of an attack won't have nearly as much effect, if any at all. Okay. All right. Next one is, can I 301 a relevant domain directly to my GMB listing? Or should I point to a GMB website I build instead of the GMB listing? If so, should I make contact details private just in case Google tries to see who the owner of the domain is? Okay, couple things there. Number one, Google is a domain registrar. So even though you might have domain privacy enabled, because Google is a domain registrar, they know exactly who is behind that. That's just to keep the general public from knowing who owns the domain. Domain registrars can always see who the domain is registered to. So even if you have privacy enabled, I don't recommend redirecting or doing a 301 from a domain directly to a GMB listing. Or a GMB website for that matter. What I would recommend that you do is do a 301 redirect to like an HTML page, especially hosted on S3, Amazon S3. Like our ID pages, for example. Our ID pages are perfect for redirecting a 301 domain to, because now you've got a super high authority domain, Amazon, right? That you've got just a static HTML3 or HTML page on that you can create as an entity, an ID page, which was like an entity validator essentially. And you can do iframe stacking and everything else there, which means you can push whatever inbound link equities coming from that domain that you're redirecting to iframes, which act kind of like, it's not the same, but kind of like a do follow link. And so what I would recommend is doing something like that. It redirects directly to a money site or to a GMB listing, in my opinion, is not the best way to go. You should create some sort of buffer between them where you can inject more relevancy and more entity information, which is why I think an Amazon S3 hosted HTML page is the perfect place for something like that. What do you think, Marco?
Unless he has that website that has those magical metrics, those metrics that are above, I would say above 60 in Majestic. That's when I start looking at Majestic, when it hits at 60 point.
What, trust flow?
Trust flow, citation flow, both. When it's around there or higher, that's going to be a really expensive website. But when it's around there, it's so powerful that one link can really make a difference. Now the thing is, that's going to be really expensive. and it's going to take you a whole lot of time and effort to find it. It's like, right, looking for a needle in a haystack. It's almost impossible. So what I did is I stopped doing it. I stopped trying to find expired domains, and I just worked from the Dry Stack and G site, and just expand it and isolate keyword sets and just go through that. I mean, that if whatever it is that we do, or whatever it is that we offer you in our done for you services, because we use it. It's because our methods work with what we make available to you guys. If it didn't work, we just wouldn't make it available to you. We try to be, again, as ethical as possible in everything that we do. We know that our shit works without all of these other things that you used to have to do, or that you could do to help yourself along, because you're borrowing from the ultimate trusted and authoritative entity on the web as far as Google is concerned, which is Google.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I was pre-reading another question. Gordon's up next. He says, hey guys, hope you're having a great day and thank you very much for your help as usual. You're welcome, Gordon. Thank you for your questions as always. I believe you have mentioned previously that popular shared web hosting providers like HostGator impede your SEO and ranking efforts. Can you briefly recap why? Yeah, because there's a number of reasons. Number one is they're super inexpensive hosts. They're budget hosts. Which means they overload their IP blocks. They overload their servers they allow too many sites. Remember guys, when you go to sign up for a shared hosting plan, or, a budget hosting plan, they tell you unlimited sites and unlimited bandwidth and all that. But that's not really true. And number one, but number two, also what happens is they overload those IP blocks with too many sites. And what happens is you end up with a lot of shitty, cheap SEO type sites, right? So affiliate spammers and other SEOs and people that are just creating these stupid, ugly, sloppy sites that aren't put, so there ends up too many sites on the IP to begin with, but then you end up being it's being kind of a guilty by association. You can get mixed in to what's called like a bad neighborhood, right? In other words, if there's 500 sites on your server, the server that because it's a shared hosting provider, there's 500 other sites on there alongside your site on that same IP. And then there's going to be a percentage of them that are just really shitty sites. They could be de-indexed. They could have manual penalties. They could have a number of things that are, so that basically guilty by association, your website can get caught up. But not just that. It's also because when you have that many sites on just sharing an IP, if any one of them or any number of them are receiving a spike in traffic or a DDoS attack or something like that, it ends up killing the amount of bandwidth available for all of the other sites on that same IP. Does that make sense? So what I found is if you were to use a cheap budget host, I would recommend doing something like putting Uptime Robot on it or some sort of uptime monitor that will allow you to notify you by email, and you can even set them up for text messages, which I don't recommend, except for really important sites. But it can email you or notify you when your sites go down. And what you'll see is if you put an uptime monitor on a site that's on a shared hosting account, you will see how often the site goes down. And it's incredible how often those sites are unreachable, right? And it's because of other sites on that same IP receiving too much traffic and basically monopolizing all the available bandwidth. And there's just, you'll see. And once you see that, you'll realize how shitty cheap shared hosts are. So as far as can I recommend on our semanticmastery.com/resources page, there's the two that I would still recommend. Liquid Web, by the way, you guys are just seeing strike throughs because I've got a plugin that shows no follow links. But Liquid Web is our go-to choice for hosting. I would recommend that you get because you can actually sell hosting to clients. That's what I always recommend doing. So, get a good hosting provider, get a good plan, and then you can turn around and charge your customers, your clients, for monthly hosting. What I do is I offer them a yearly monthly hosting or a yearly rate and then a monthly rate. So what I'll do is I'll charge a client, basically like $180 for a year. or $20 a month. Does that make sense? So it's up to them. They either pay $20 a month or $180 for the year. And I just do a PayPal subscription so they get rebilled. And then that way I'm actually making money on hosting too. And I just do that through my own hosting account on Liquid Web. I also have WPX hosting, which is Terry Kyle's. That's also very, very good. And that's very fast. And the support is amazing in both of those. So, and that's, by the way, that's the last part of that I would recommend. Another reason why not to use a budget host is because any issues you have, you're going to have to deal with support. Sometimes support will only be via email and not via live chat or phone. Sometimes they're on completely different time schedules because they could be in India for all we know. And so every time you submit a support request, it takes 12 hours before they reply back. So support requests can get drawn out. What I found is I've got some other hosts that I still use because I have sites that I never wanted to move, and I hate them because every time I got a problem, I've got to deal with that. But Liquid Web and WPX are both, I mean, they're instant fast. Like you submit a ticket and within minutes, you've got a reply, somebody working on your issue. It's incredibly fast. Marco, do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, man. What I found is that budget hosting actually, you lose money because of all the time that you have to spend with that shitty host. Sometimes the PHP version is outdated. It's often outdated because they're not going to update. It's not worth it to them. You're paying $4 a month. And so by doing that, you actually lose money with all the time that you have to spend with support or going into your cPanel and seeing what the hell is going on. If somebody is hogging up resources on that shared hosting, then your website is going to be super slow. You're not going to know why. And it's because some idiot is doing something that they're not supposed to be doing, which is going to harm the reputation of the server. And as Bradley said, that's known as a bad neighborhood. So it ends in the long run, it ends up costing you money. So stop with the shitty hosting. Go get a Liquid Web VPS, and you can host your domains on there. You could host your clients on there. You could put several clients on there. You could charge them for it. $50 a month. You have 5 clients. That's $10 per client, and the VPS is free for you to use because your clients are paying for it. And you have the most fabulous support that you can think of. They'll migrate stuff for you if you act real dumb. Well, I don't know how to do that. How do I even start? Oh, don't worry about it, Mr. Benavides. We'll take care of it for you. When do you want us to do it? What time? Because they'll even want it when the website isn't busy.
Yeah.
I mean, just guys, it's just fantastic. And it's the peace of mind of knowing that if something happens, if you get an attack, God forbid, if you get hacked, then Liquid Web is right there to help you with whatever it is that you need. With others, you have to sit in that fucking queue eternally sometimes. I've been through that, and it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Yep. I think a good host is worth their weight in gold. And like I said, it can become a profit center in your business too.
Yep.
So, you pay $1,000 a year for a good host, but you're charging, and you got 10 clients and you're charging them, $180 per year. That's $1,800, right? Or if you're charging them monthly, because some clients will just rather pay monthly, then that's, $2,000 or $20 per month. So $240 per year times 10 would be $2,400. So my point is it becomes a profit center. Okay.
Great revenue stream. Yep.
Right. All right. So next one is there's 6 questions here. I'm going to try to roll through these quickly, guys. Remember, we ask you guys to just post 1 or 2 questions max per post because it makes it too hard to get to anybody else's questions. So I'll roll through a couple of these rather quickly, and then we're going to move on. And if we have any other time left, which doesn't look like we will, we'll come back. Okay. Thanks for the opportunity to ask these questions. Number 1, can you effectively use embeds as a substitute for links from seed sites you cannot obtain? Marco, that's a question for you.
Okay, can you effectively use embeds as a substitute for links? Yeah, I mean, yes. Don't get your head twisted on this, because it's not exactly a link and it's not exactly a substitute. It'll act a little bit different. We don't know whether it accrues the PageRank and ranking score that we need. We just know that it pushes massive ranking power. So yes, iframing and then link building into that iframe, you have the protection of the source. I mean, that's the whole concept behind the iframes, that the source should be so powerful that it protects you. And you can just do all kinds of nasty stuff to wherever the embeds are, to wherever the iframe is embedded, to help your SEO. It should not substitute your link building. Link building, especially into the iframes, works really well. But yeah, I mean, it's a solid way. It's a solid strategy.
I read through the rest of these questions. Sems, whatever your name is, my question to you is, why the hell with these types of questions are you not in our mastermind where we could dig into this stuff for you? I mean, these are some pretty advanced questions, which means you probably know what you're doing, which means you should be on our damn mastermind. Sorry. You know, these aren't beginner type questions, which is what the Hump Day Hangouts really is. We can't give away the farm for free here. That's what behind closed doors is for. So the next one was, is there a limit on the number of embeds on a page? i.e., are there diminishing returns? I don't think there's a limit to the number that you can put on a page, but you can break a browser. You can lock your computer up. If you have too many iframes on a page, how do I know? Because some of my ad ID pages are ridiculous. And if I open it up in a browser window, it will eat up all the memory in my computer. So, Marco, is there an actual limit to it?
I haven't found it because, I mean, it's just code. Yeah. And so the code, you can just add and add and add. What happens is that the page, as you said, it'll break. It's super slow. You're gonna have to do some coding so that it doesn't load, take forever to render. But there's no need for that. You just find 4 or 5 really powerful iframes. You put them on lazy load, and away you go.
Yeah, not only that, but if you stack the frames in that, you iframe on one property, then you reframe that on another property, you end up with that mirror and mirror type. So you don't need a super high number. You just need a few very quality ones to achieve results, which is what we've kind of built out with our SEO shield.
Well,
all right, we're gonna go ahead.
Sorry, 2 or 3 iframes will create the loop. Yeah. And we can loop we can loop the bot endlessly depending on how much information it is that we're feeding it. So iframes are the shit. You guys are sleeping on iframes if you're not using them.
Yeah, I agree. And there's some other really good questions there, but we're going to have to move on because we've only got about 7 minutes left and we've still got other questions to get to. However, I really like those questions. I would love to answer them. So come join the damn mastermind, man. Come join us. Anyways, the next one is, hey guys, I have a question about all of your strategies being used for the same site, but different cities. So I have a client that I'm ranking on page 1 in 17 of the 24 cities they have in their county. I'm not able to get them in maps in as many cities, however. They only have 1 location and I'd like to start pushing them up in maps in more cities. Would you just push more juice to the city pages? Yeah, that's one thing you could do. Remember, the maps algorithm now is, it's the proximity part of it, right? The proximity filter or whatever you want to call it is even narrower now than it was 2 months ago. One of the more recent updates, which I think has occurred within the last 2 months, actually narrowed the proximity filter for Google Maps listings. So in order for your map listing to show up, or GMB to show up in the Maps 3-pack now, it's very closely tied to proximity from where the searcher is in relationship to their business, to the actual physical location of the business when they perform the search. So it's even harder now than it was even just 6 months ago to get a Maps GMB to rank in maps outside of its immediate area, right? So it's not that it can't be done. That's what local GMB Pro methods are for, is to help you to learn how to expand that centroid, as Marco calls it, but expand the maps presence into, further and further out to kind of overcome that proximity issue. But that said, yes, some of the things that you can do would be to create like geo posts on your money site. You can even create location-based silos. And if you're in our mastermind, we talk about how to set up proper silo structure, and also how to create location-based silos within topical silos. And there's a way that you can do that using tags, for example. Very, very powerful. And when you mix those in with the SEO Shield stuff, the G site, the RYS Drive Stack, and you theme mirror everything together, which means you mirror the site, your website structure onto these other assets, the G site, the RYS Drive Stack and such, then you can start to really get your organic rankings to push up in those additional areas, and couple that with local GMB Pro methods. It's very likely that you could get your maps listing to start appearing in those cities within the county, outside of your immediate area is what I'm saying, where you're physically located. It takes effort, and you've got, in order to get the maps listing to rank in the 3-pack, it does require consistent effort, but it can be done. Marco, do you want to comment on that really quickly?
Yeah, there has to be a relationship between the centroid and the place where you're trying to get into the map pack. If you cannot establish that relationship, then it's really, really difficult to try to get your listing to appear, because there are other businesses that are closer by when that searcher is conducting that query, right? When that person is looking for, I don't know, a plumber, emergency plumber, they're going to get those who are closest to them. They're not going to get someone that's an hour and a half away. To overcome that, that's when you have to relate that centroid. And we teach that in local GMB Pro. We've talked about that in the mastermind, extending the spokes, thinking of it like a wheel, right, with spokes, and just trying to extend the spokes. How do you do that? Well, it's part of the secret sauce. Sorry.
Yeah, and I was trying to look for that article that Brian Cato published. I've listed it and I posted it in here, but he did a really good job with showing how to build out relationships with using local entities, in content to get a local page to rank or a local site to rank. So that's something that if I could find it, I'd post the link, but we're running out of time. So I'll try to come back and post that. It was a really good write-up that he did on that. So I'll try to share that with you once we're done. We only got a few minutes left, guys. We're going to try to roll through a couple more. Fitz says, good day, gents. Thanks for this great forum. You're welcome, Fitz. He says, I recently checked the page source of my GMB maps listing and saw a few of my competitor names mentioned in the code. Should I be concerned? No, there's nothing you can do about it. But for example, if I was to search, I don't know, let me just look for plumber Culpeper, for example. Let's just click on Culpeper Home Services. Actually, let's do, what I'm trying to share here is you're going to see that, shit, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's check this one. All right. So you'll notice that, shit, sorry. Try this again. What you're seeing is this. People also search for. That's what you're seeing. Right. So there's nothing you can do about that. So I'm pretty sure that that's what you're seeing when you're looking at the code. You're seeing this part right here. It's right in the knowledge panel, right? The knowledge panel even shows competitors, and I don't think there's any way that you can stop that. All right. It's a good question, though. Joseph says, hey, guys, I just ordered a drive stack and a G site. What's the best URL to provide your team to link back to my money site? Is it a supporting page or the money page for that keyword? Thanks. I guess it depends on what you're having the stack built out for. If it's for the brand itself, just the homepage. If you're just doing the initial brand drive stack, which would be creating it's basically to validate, solidify the entity, right? And your primary keyword, whatever that may be, should be associated with the brand. And that's how we recommend building that out. But if it's for a very specific product or page or content silo within your site, then that's different. So Marco, what would you recommend for him on that?
The brand. What's the homepage URL and the brand? That's the main stack. The very first one, drive stack plus G site, should be brand plus keyword or brand plus location plus keyword.
That's right.
That's how it is. We relate every keyword that we can under that top level category that you give us. Go as broad as possible. Even if you're into, I don't know, renting hotel rooms in let's say in a province in Costa Rica, then what you want is a hotel rental or anything related to that, room rental, just whatever it is. The broader that you can go, the better it is for us, because we'll get you everything under the sun. Then as you broaden the drive stack and as you add depth to it, that's when you start focusing in and honing in on your silos and your supporting keywords, LSI, and everything else that's related to that.
Oh, awesome. He says, my apologies, I didn't know about the 2-question rule. No, and I didn't expect that you would know that, man. But honestly, it's just to be respectful of other people. But yeah, definitely consider joining the mastermind. I would recommend that you do, because it sounds like you know your shit to a degree. And so those are the types of questions that we get really far in depth in the mastermind. All right. I know we're after 5 p.m., but I want to answer one more question really quickly. So, but I can't without answering Austin Dawn's first. He says, what's the best way to share an infographic? I'm not sure what you mean by that. As far as like different places to publish it or just to share it, I'm not sure what you mean. So if you could clarify that, maybe we can go back and answer that one. But the one that I wanted to answer was, can we do the YouTube branding before syndication networks? I'm not sure what you're asking about there, BBB. Can we do YouTube branding before syndication networks? Remember, syndication networks are should be part of every project, right? Every website project, every brand, every client, even your own brand, you should have syndication network, right? It's like, that should be step number 1. So I don't know what you mean by, can you do YouTube branding before that? What I recommend with the Google Ads branding course, it's not just about YouTube, it's about using the display network too, is that what I was trying to convey with that is how you can set up branding campaigns to create brand awareness and also to drive inexpensive, very relevant targeted traffic into your digital presence, whether that's through videos or through the display network. My point of teaching it was, I think all of you guys listening now that are marketing consultants or agency owners, you should all have branding campaigns set up for your own agency. I am 100% guilty of running my own marketing agency for almost 10 years now and not making my own brand a priority, right? I've always worked on clients' businesses, building their brands, but I didn't work so hard on building my own, if that makes sense. So my point is, you should be building your own brand so that people start to seek you out, and you don't have to do outbound prospecting all the time. Each time you want another client, you're going to have people coming to you, seeking you out because they see you everywhere. You can also sell this as a service to your clients, right? If you understand how to set up these type of campaigns, then you can set up branding campaigns and create another stream of revenue from that service. It's very inexpensive or very easy to manage. And so, like I said, it's a great profit center, another source of revenue. If you've already got existing clients, you can go what I call shake the bushes, and that's go contact your existing clients and tell them that you want to set up, that you propose you'd like to set up some branding campaigns for them. So my point is, would you want to do it before syndication networks? No, not that I'm not sure where your timeline is, but for me, syndication networks are like step 1 for every project that I do. And then the branding traffic using Google Ads is something that you would do to start pushing traffic into the brand, creating brand awareness, brand recognition, and inbound traffic from relevant sources, if that makes sense. And that will actually help to kind of activate or trigger all of the SEO work that we're doing, because that's exactly what ART, as Marco always says, ART, activity, relevance, trust, and authority. That kind of triggers all 3 of those. Is sending traffic in from a known relevant audience that you're buying from Google into your SEO your assets, your digital assets, kind of helps to trigger or it kind of ignite all of the SEO efforts. Okay. All right. We're several minutes over. Any want to comment on that?
Yeah, just 1 second. If you do it backwards, it'll be more difficult. If you don't get your entity in place, if you don't set it up, if you don't create it, and if you don't verify and start validating, if you skip those steps, then it's going to be that much harder to come back and try to work on the entity. So why not set up the entity the way that we teach it, the right way, so that when you do start out with those posts and the link building, the press releases, and everything else that you're going to do, it's going to have maximum effect. Why would you do anything that's not going to have maximum effect? Bradley's strategy for branding is a great strategy, but if the brand isn't in place, if the entity isn't in place, then it's not going to have the effect that it has to have or that it needs to have. And right now, and guys, just go watch the charity webinars. It's worth a whole lot more than anything that you could possibly give, the information that I'm giving away. Just go watch it so that you know why. There's a reason why you need to do this. It's called BERT, and it's called neural matching.
Amen. All right. Thanks everybody for being here. We'll see Mastermind members tomorrow. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next week.
Woo, see everyone.
Good one. Later.